I wanted to have you on because you are an expert on this now very high profile and controversial issue. And it shouldn't be that controversial, but I guess that's one way to frame it, which is H-1B visas. So the position of this program is Americans come first and America's for Americans only. And this is not that controversial of a position, that if we're going to have immigration, legal immigration, it should benefit the homeland. It should be done very, very intelligently. However, we've had this mass migration wave, so it makes sense to allow things cool down and to reanalyze the way we do immigration altogether. With that being said, the people that are pushing for, let's say, more H-1Bs or something similar, I can sympathize with some of their premises. So where are we at right now with this H-1B debate, and what do you think is most missing from the current dialogue surrounding it?
Well, first of all, I mean, immigration, to paraphrase what Bill and Hillary Clinton used to say about abortion in the 90s, immigration should be safe, legal, and rare. In a natural market economy, there is no such thing as a long-term labor shortage, right? That is not natural. The labor shortage, the ongoing quote-unquote labor shortage, is increasingly worse because of our H-1B visa system and most of our visa systems, actually. When the H-1B system was created in 1990, by the way, it's not like we had this in 1776 and we needed it to bring Albert Einstein, or Albert Einstein came without an H-1B visa. The studies done justifying an H-1B system was created about wages, not about talent. It was about how do one, our employers get involved in the Asian market, and two, how our employers work within a talent pool to work within a wage that works for them, to suppress wages. The average H-1B visa worker in this country makes less than $120,000 a year. These are not all, the next Tesla or the next Elon Musk or the next anybody. And there's been consistent cases of visa fraud in the last 2 years under the Biden administration. There were two big cases, one being most famously Facebook, which was going straight to foreign countries through the H-1B visa system, and they were discriminating wholeheartedly against Americans. I think Facebook had to pay $15 million or $14 million for wholeheartedly just disqualifying Americans and discriminating against them. And then there was another company called Larson and Turbo Infotech. They're a company, I think, that has been like 4.7 million in fines because they were firing Americans, qualified Americans, and replacing them with Indian H-1B workers. The idea that this is like a DEI program for mediocre, Americans who screech over, like Slater over screech on Saved by the Bell, is completely, just wholeheartedly not true. Many times it's qualified Americans who've worked in these jobs for long periods of time who have been displaced by H-1B foreign workers.
Yeah. But there's also an there's an exceptional talent visa that is being conflated with H-1B, which I think the exceptional talent visa actually has a place. Like if you're a yo-yo ma and you want to be able to perform for 2 years, it's called the O1 visa, and you want to go perform for the New York Philharmonic, great. I mean, I don't know if Yo-Yo Ma's American-born or if he's from
He's American-born, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
So sure. So whatever. Sorry. Whoever. I think that's fine, and I think that an exceptional talent visa has a place in a free society, and we should embrace that. Can you please add the distinction, because some people are defending H-1Bs as if they are O-1s?
Right. Well, O1 visa is for exceptional talent, and it ranges, right? It ranges from supermodels and artists to people who are science and math wizards who have unique talents, and they're the best and the brightest of their country and of the world. If you wanted to bring only Albert Einsteins into this country, right, there are not a lot of geniuses walking around in everyday life in any society whatsoever. You could probably reduce the entire visa system of geniuses just down to 2,000 people a year rather than the 85,000 H-1Bs. H-1Bs, they do work of accountants sometimes. They do work of of low skilled technology laborers. And when people come on an H-1B visa, their residency to the United States is attached to their visa. So so they can to their work, to their occupation. So they cannot ever leave their job unless it means leaving the United States. They are basically removed from the market of being able to compete for a better job or a better more qualified bonuses or increased salaries. It's literally to suppress those people's wages, and a lot of them sometimes are not tremendously skilled. Between 55 to 40% of all H-1B visa applications were for jobs that made $100,000 a year or less. These aren't the top talent, and many of them can be filled by Americans.
Can you reiterate that? Because if I were to, when I speak to, and I'm friends with people on both sides of this aisle, however, my position is very clear on this. When I speak to a tech CEO or someone that uses H-1B, they are insistent, Ryan, that Americans are unwilling or unable to do these jobs.
Right.
Help me prove them wrong.
According to the census, 72% of Americans with STEM degrees do not have a job in the STEM field. I'll repeat that, 72% according to census numbers. Other numbers, according to different social scientists and economists, range between 30 and 60%. But the most people say it is a majority of Americans with STEM degrees do not have STEM jobs. They can't get them. Secondly, the idea, and you've seen this a lot on the internet, I'm sure, that American education is just so antiquated, so bad that like we need to bring in workers from other countries because we rank like 15th or 16th in the world for math and science. We rank 15th or 16th according to the PISA scores in elementary schools, behind only a handful of countries, mostly in Western Europe and East Asia. Most countries in the world do not even take the PISA tests because they score so badly. India, for example, which has become a hot button subject given how many applicants come from India. India has not taken the test since 2009 because the last time they took the test, they ranked second to last behind sub-Saharan Africa. So the idea that our students are just so incredibly stupid and we shouldn't invest in the youth of America because they're just being displaced by hardworking people who, they don't love the prom king, they love the math wizard in school, that is completely and totally incoherent and not correct whatsoever. There is no data that ever backs that up. I mean, yes, there are some people in East Asia, some people in Western Europe that are doing better in math and science than ours, but overall, not even a question. It's not even close. The American talent is far overwhelming than that of other countries.
We have a lot of suppressed talent in the United States because of ordinary white people being discriminated against at every level of American life. Do you believe that plays into this?
100%. Listen, Charlie, one of my donors for my PAC, who is a very, very wealthy individual, said to me one day, and they're white, and they said, I am genuinely worried that my children cannot get a good enough job and they'll be discriminated because of their race. We have seen this time and time and time again. It is a silent conversation that a lot of people and middle-class parents have with their kids, and they worry about technological changes, they worry about AI, they worry about how will their kid get a job, but also about the disqualifications on just being a white person. Despite the fact, this is according to the census and the CDC, despite the fact that Native Americans, people of American Indian ancestry, have some of the lowest birth rates in history in the entire country, their population is increasing every single year. Now, we can't import more American Indians and Native Americans, so where are they coming from? It's white people saying they're 1/16th Cherokee just so they can check off a different box so they are not discriminated against, and they feel it and they're worried about it. And hopefully more states take action using the Harvard lawsuit saying you can't discriminate people based on race for jobs.
Ryan, please continue on that thought that our break cut you off.
No, I think that there's a lot of people. What I was saying is that there's a lot of people, middle American people, who are genuinely worried that their children will be discriminated against in employment and in government contracts, if they're small business owners, or at college admissions because of their skin color. And that is why you're seeing an enormous amount of people point that, oh, I'm 1/16 Cherokee, therefore I am not white, I'm Native American. It's the Elizabeth Warren story. That is what a lot of people are doing because there is a genuine fear of it, and there is a lot of discrimination from corporations when it comes to hiring Americans. I mean, that has been proven evident in all of these lawsuits over H-1B visa fraud.